Hi guys, my name's Craig. Welcome to Small Farmer Life. It's absolutely freezing. We've got snow on the ground and it's not been a nice day at all. But anyway, today I'm going to talk about PDRs, which stands for Permitted Development Rights. Now, permitted development rights, a lot of people think when it comes to farming that you have to own 12 acres, which is 5 hectares, to get the permission, or what it's called is just prior approval notice put into the council, which costs £96 instead of going through the full planning process to get a barn built on a piece of land. Now, the piece of land that you're going to build the barn on has to be 1 hectare of land. So that's about 2.6 acres. But you do not have to own all of the 5 hectares. So you could own, let's say, 3 acres of land, and then you could rent the other 9 acres of land off a farmer down the road. Now, when you get into farming, you're going to meet other local farmers, and there's plenty of local farmers that have fields that they don't use and they just pasture fields, and they will gladly rent you that field out to graze some sheep or some goats or whatever other animals you might have. I have a friend, he rents out a 15-acre field, which will soon be rented out to me, and I'll be getting my permitted development rights on my farm. But what you have to do is get the actual land leased to you for 7 years. So if you've only got 3 acres, then you're going to have to get the other 9 acres leased to you for 7 years consecutively. Now, land can be very cheap when you're renting off farmers, especially when you know them. That's if they charge you anything at all. But all you have to do is give you the piece of paper saying that they're leasing you that piece of land for 7 years consecutively. And then once you do that, you get as much information as possible together about what size of barn you want to build on your small farm. So you need the barn to be a minimum of 25 metres from a road. So I would put it at least 50 metres from the road. That'll keep the council nice and happy, and it needs to be built from materials that you see barns built from. So box profile sheeting or timber, cladding, that sort of thing. And also a barn of the right size, because you're allowed to build under permitted development rights a barn of 1,000 square metres of floor area space. Now you can do this in 2 years, so 1 year you could build a 500 square metre area, and then the next year you could build another 500 square metre area. But what you need to do, guys, is just think of a barn that'll fit on your small farm and suit your small farm. And also, when you're putting in for development rights for your farm, make sure you're telling them it's for machinery or storing large parcels of hay. So you might buy hay in bulk to feed your animals that you're grazing on the land that you're renting, and you're storing it in that barn. Because if you start talking about animals and you're going to be putting animals in the barn, then they're going to want to know a lot more information, like where's the sewerage going to go. So normally it would take 28 days to get that passed and cost 96 quid. Well, if you start saying I'm going to be putting cows in the barn, then they're going to want to know where the sewerage is going from the cows and how it's going to be stored and going off site and all that sort of thing. So make sure you keep it to machinery and hay and bedding and all that sort of thing. Don't put no animals in the application whatsoever, and just make sure you give them as much detail as possible, like I say, what it's going to be built out, where it's going to be placed on your actual small piece of land, how big it's going to be. Because if you put in for a big barn, they are going to come out and go, why do you need such a large barn? So you need to understand that the size of the barn will matter to get it passed through on just the prior approval notice. But they can ask you to put in for a full planning application. Now, let's say you don't manage to get someone to give you a letter saying you're leasing the rest of the land that you need to make up 5 hectares for your small farm so you can get the permitted development right. Well, you can put in for a full planning application for a barn on your small farm, and you can use it to store your machines and your hay and all that sort of thing, but just keep it to the right size that'll fit the amount of land you're farming. Because I have a friend, he has 2 barns on a 2.5 acre piece of land. One's 40 foot by 30 foot and another one's 30 foot by 30 foot. Then he's got a 100 foot polytunnel by about 24 foot, and then he's got a lovely Yorkshire stone stable block, and it's all on 2.5 acres, and he's got planning permission for it all. And this is the guy I was talking about in another video who got caught on the 4-year 1-day rule on the 11th hour. So you can get planning permission for barns on small pieces of land. But if you just want to go through the permitted development rule, then you have to have the 5 hectares. But like I say, you do not have to own all 5 hectares. You can rent land, and you just have to have a hectare of land where you're going to put the barn on for yourself in one space. So you can't have like an acre in one field, let's say 100 yards away, then another acre, because then it's spread apart. It has to be one parcel of land that's an hectare in size that you want to put the barn on. And then if you can get someone to rent you the land, you'll get your permitted development rights, and it'll only cost you £96, and then you can crack on building your actual barn. Now, you can actually get the letter from another farmer saying he's going to rent you the land and just crack on and build the barn anyway, and then put in for what I did, retrospective planning application. And it's very rare that the planning officers are going to tell you to tear it down if it's in use for your farm. So if they're tearing up and they see that there's farm machinery in the barn and it's got hay stored in the barn and you're actually farming on your farm, they're not going to tell you to tear it down. But guys, there's ways and means around everything, but it's just knowing them, and the only way you're going to know them is by learning of people like me and other people who are willing to actually tell you how to get round those rules. But I'm only telling you if you're trying to be a small farmer, or you want to start a small farm and you want to live a little bit of a good life. Anyway, guys, my name's Craig. You've been watching The Small Farmer Life. Make sure you take care of yourself. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, then hit that subscribe button. If you want to be notified of more upcoming videos, then hit the bell button. Until next time, guys, take care of the family most of all.